Hey guys, this is Eddie from Long Island Boaters Club, and this is another edition of On Board. I'm on my boat today. I'm going to be taking it out to the bay, and I'm going to be anchoring it. So I'm going to go over with you guys just how I do that. There are some simple guidelines that I do follow as far as how much line I'm going to put out, depending on the weather and the tide. Now, if it is a calm day, usually for every foot of water, I'll put out 5 feet of line. If it's a normal day, I'll put out for every foot of water 7 feet of line. And if it's a rough day, at least 10 feet of line for every foot of water. Now there are some spots that you shouldn't be anchoring in. One is the canal, of course. You shouldn't be anchoring in a canal because there's too much boat traffic going back and forth. Second thing is you should never tie up to a buoy and anchor from the other side. That's a no-no. Don't do that either. Okay? Now when it comes to your anchor, you want to have the proper size anchor for your boat. So check your manufacturer, make sure you have the right size anchor for your boat. You don't want something too small and it be dragging across the bottom and you're trying to figure out, am I moving, am I moving? Yeah, you're moving because your anchor's too small. You want to have chain on your anchor before your rope. You want to be able to let the anchor hit the bottom and drag along, and that's going to give the right angle to it as well. You don't want too much chain. Because if you have too much chain, when you go to pull it up, it's going to be too heavy for you if you don't have a windlass. In my case, I'm a little fortunate, I have a windlass. Now when I am out there, I'm going to be dropping the anchor line. I'm going to be seeing how much I have. I do need to know how much water's out there. My depth finder is going to give me that. And when you are figuring out your specs on this, you're going to go from the top here down to the bottom of the water, which I have 4 feet to the top of the water, and then whatever your depth of your water is. And that's how much line you're going to need. So for an example, say if you're in 6 feet of water, and I have 4 feet from here down to the water, that's 10 feet. So if it's a calm day, so I said for every foot of water, 5 feet of line, I'm going to be needing 50 feet of rope out. Okay. Now, when you are out there and you are anchored, at night, you should be keeping the top white light on, and that's going to symbolize that you're anchored, especially if you're sleeping on the boat. If it is a spot where everybody anchors, you don't have to do it by law, but I would still recommend to have that on for you so nobody does hit into you. Now there's also alerts that you can do on your GPS system, anchor alerts. So if you go out of your circle, the alert will go off. That's a great thing if you're sleeping on the boat, because if your boat does decide to lift anchor, the alarm will go off, it'll wake you up. So let's get on the boat, let's take a ride out there, let's drop this anchor, and let's see how this is done. And before I start to go out to the bay to anchor out, I just wanted to go over your options on a rear anchor. Now, first thing is you want to have the right size anchor for your boat. So once again, check your manufacturer specs, make sure you have the right size anchor, even if it is your rear anchor. Very important about the rear anchor. This is just to stabilize the boat. You never ever want to anchor from the back of a boat, just the back, because the boat could capsize. You want to have enough rope, like 100 feet of rope. You're going to tie it into the wind. So whatever way the wind's blowing, say if it's coming this way, you want to tie it on that cleat, bring it out as far as you can to the beach and push it into the ground. So what you're going to do is you're going to drop your front anchor, estimate how far you're going to come into, like say the beach, because that's usually where you use it. And then you're going to get out, you tie it on, pull it as far as you can, and that's going to keep the boat stable like this. So if you're jumping off the platform, if you're going to the beach, it's still there. But be careful, watch the tide. It's going to come in and out. Make sure you leave enough line so you can adjust it so if the boat doesn't get beached. Okay. Now, a great feature on most GPS is the anchor alert. So what you can do is you can set that so that the boat will be in the middle of the circle, and when it goes out of the circle, it's going to set off an alarm. So especially at night if you're sleeping, that's going to let you know that you're moving, your anchor's moving. So according to your GPS system, if you look over here, okay guys, I'm at the helm by my GPS system. And over here is my anchor alarm. And what I did is I enabled it. I set it to 0.05 miles, which is about 250 feet. So once I go out of that circle, 250 feet, the alarm's going to go off, and that's going to say that my anchor came up. So if I'm sleeping, that's going to help me, because then I'll know that the anchor's coming up, get out there, check on the boat. So if you have a GPS system, that's a great way to monitor that. Okay. I'm going to start my boat. You know what to do first. Okay guys, as you can see, I'm at the end of my canal. You can take a look out on the bay. It's a pretty nice day today. A little cloudy, a little hot, humid, but it's a nice day. So I'm just going to go out past the buoys, if you take a look that way, at the buoys. And I'm just going to drop anchor out in the bay and go over how I do that. So hold on, here we go. All right, guys, I just got out of the buoys, so I'm out in the bay, and this looks like a great spot to drop my anchor. So fortunate for me, I do have a windlass, so I can do it right from here, from the helm, or I do have some controls up at the bow as well. That's nice when I'm pulling the anchor up because I can see where the anchor is coming, but also when you are pulling the anchor up, you kind of want to pull it forward as the slack comes in, so it makes it easier for the anchor to come up. And as you're dropping the line, you want to go in reverse a little bit so the line doesn't get caught up out there either. So the first thing I'm going to do right now is I'm going to open up my windshield so I can get out there to see what's going on. I'm going to start dropping my anchor. I can see the line going out. We're going to go past the chain. There's the rope. That's 27 feet of chain. Okay guys, I'm coming to the bow of my boat. I'm looking out here and I can see it's a little breezy. The wind's definitely blowing. The water's probably average. So I'm figuring with my 10 feet of water, well, I have 6 feet of water, and then I have 4 feet from the top of where my anchor line goes into the top of the water. So that's 10 feet altogether. So 7 feet of line I need for every foot of water. So that's about 70 feet of line. So my chain is 27. I marked every 5 feet with red marker, and then I taped at 50 feet. So I'm going to see how much I estimated down if it worked out. So here's my windlass, and here's my bow controls. Now, believe me guys, when I say I did my time on this, I definitely pulled up my anchors by myself, hand over hand, which is how you're supposed to do it. So having my windlass, it's a big break for me, especially with this size boat. So let's see, I see a red mark over there, and then we'll see how far I am from my black tape if I got the 50, if I guessed right. So let me put out some line. It's up. Oh, it's my black tape, that was pretty good. That's 50 feet of line. So with my 27 feet of rope and my 50 feet, that's 77 feet of line. That's more than what I need. And that's gonna hold my boat. Okay guys, now we're gonna get ready to pull this up. What I like to do is from inside is to hit the windlass, because at that time I can pull forward as the slack from the rope comes out and it doesn't get caught in the back in the prop or anything. If you did it over here, which is great, but you're putting a lot of strain on your windlass. This way there's not as much strain until it gets to the chain. And if you look, there's teeth on the windlass, which really grips the chain good. It's okay with the rope, but it's really good with the chain. So once the chain gets up there, it's great. So if I was to do it from here, I'll do a little bit from here. I'm gonna be hitting the black one, just like that. And the boat's gonna pull forward. Okay? Now I'm gonna go back to where I normally do it at the helm. And once I get to the chain, I'm gonna come back over here because it's gonna be easier for the windlass to pull it with the chain. So I can watch it come up so it doesn't smack on the boat or anything with the anchor. Okay, I'm back up top. I'm gonna be pulling it. There's my anchor. Sometimes you just want to dip it in a little bit to knock off the dirt, so you're not making a mess out of your boat. Once it gets to that, it's going to spin around to the right direction, and you're all hooked. Okay guys, I'm closing up all of this. My controls are all closed up, the anchor's all up, so at this point, you're probably going home for the day, so you're going to go into port. So I hope this helped you out. Once again, my name is Eddie. This is another edition of On Board, and I'll catch you next time.